Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After years of heartbreak, emotional manipulation, and broken promises that unfolded under the glaring spotlight of Sister Wives, the day finally came when Janelle+Meri Brown decided to fight back, not with tears or quiet acceptance, but with legal paperwork and powerful determination. What fans once thought was just another chapter in the Brown family's never-ending drama has now exploded into a full-blown courtroom war, with Janelle+Meri teaming up in a shocking twist that no one saw coming. It began quietly, with rumors circulating through fan pages that Janelle had contacted a property attorney in Flagstaff after a heated argument with Kody about Coyote Pass, the family's infamous and undeveloped land that had become the source of endless promises and no progress. Sources close to the family revealed that while Kody was busy reshuffling ownership paperwork and reportedly trying to consolidate parcels into his and Robin's names, Janelle felt cornered and betrayed. She had spent years believing she would one day build her dream home on her section of the land, only to discover Kody allegedly reclassified ownership percentages behind her back. Meri, who had already felt displaced and discarded for years, finally found herself sharing a common cause with Janelle, the quest for justice and ownership over what they'd both poured their time, money, and emotional investment into. When the legal notices were officially filed, insiders said it was like a thunderclap over Coyote Pass, Janelle+Meri versus Kody and Robin Brown. Court insiders reported that the documents centered on land ownership, property investment, and the redistribution of assets following the family's public split. Janelle's notice reportedly detailed her financial contributions, receipts, bank statements, and even text messages that proved she paid for utilities, land prep, and architectural consultations during the time Kody promised her that her plot was secured. Meri's filing focused on how she was cut out of decision-making processes despite being a legal wife for decades and an early contributor to the family's financial base. Together, the women's attorneys argued that Kody had no right to unilaterally alter or absorb property that had been jointly agreed upon as a family investment during their plural marriage era. The filings also hinted at potential fraudulent misrepresentation claims, suggesting that Kody misled them about the title structures and future inheritance plans, especially as Robin's name began appearing more prominently in the newest paperwork drafts. TLC cameras weren't allowed inside the courtroom, but witnesses who attended the initial hearing said the tension was palpable. Kody arrived looking rattled but defiant, wearing his signature cowboy boots and clutching what he described as proof that everything was done by the book. Robin, meanwhile, reportedly broke down in tears multiple times, whispering to her attorney and shaking her head as Janelle's lawyer described years of emotional coercion and financial erasure. Janelle's side argued that Kody's so-called patriarchal order of property decisions was nothing more than manipulation wrapped in spirituality. She accused him of using religion to control resources, particularly land, and of using emotional loyalty as a bargaining chip. According to one insider, Janelle stood firm, explaining that while she had once believed in Kody's vision for United Coyote Pass, she now realized it had been a mirage designed to keep the wives tethered while he built a new empire with Robin. Meri's testimony added another layer of heartbreak. She revealed she had once been offered a new piece of land by Kody, which she later discovered had no valid deed in her name. That betrayal, she claimed, was the moment she realized she had no future under his management. In court, her voice reportedly trembled as she said, "He told us family meant everything, but when it came to land and power, we were disposable." It was a moment that silenced the room, even drawing a few emotional reactions from spectators who had followed the Browns for over a decade. Meanwhile, Kody's defense rested on the idea that the family's spiritual marriage system didn't legally entitle the wives to property unless explicitly signed into deeds. He argued that Janelle+Meri were free to make their own choices and that the land had been divided fairly according to contribution. However, Meri's lawyer countered with evidence showing that Kody and Robyn had transferred significant portions of the family trust into an LLC controlled exclusively by them in 2023, a move made without Janelle or Meri's knowledge. The revelation caused murmurs throughout the courtroom, especially as Robyn's attorney attempted to clarify that these were organizational decisions, not betrayals. But to Janelle, those words meant little. She later told reporters outside the courthouse that she felt robbed of her dream and her dignity. "We built that land together, spiritually, emotionally, and financially," she said. "To see it stolen under paperwork games feels like the ultimate betrayal." Meri echoed that sentiment, adding, "He told us we were a team. Now I realize he was building an empire for two." Fans online immediately erupted into a frenzy. Hashtags like #JusticeForJanelle and #MeriDeservesMore began trending on social media within hours of the filings being leaked. Longtime viewers of Sister Wives expressed both shock and validation, many claiming they had always suspected Kody's favoritism toward Robyn would eventually cause legal backlash. Some even dug up old episodes, pointing out scenes where Janelle seemed uneasy about land discussions and Meri appeared confused about her role in future planning. "He gaslighted them for years," one Reddit user wrote. "This was bound to explode. Kody played puppet master for too long, and now the strings have snapped." Insiders close to TLC hinted that producers were scrambling to restructure filming for the upcoming season, as this courtroom development was too significant to ignore. Rumor has it that both Janelle and Meri have agreed to share limited on-camera statements, but have requested editorial control over how their legal narratives are portrayed, something Kody reportedly refused. Behind the scenes, tensions have reached new levels. Sources revealed that Kody has been furious about being painted as a villain, claiming that he's the only one who truly understands the paperwork. He allegedly called Janelle's move a betrayal of family values and accused her of being influenced by outsiders. But what makes this case especially intense is how it redefines the end of their plural marriage dynamic. For years, Kody was the self-proclaimed patriarch, the decision-maker whose authority went unquestioned. Now, for the first time, the women he once guided are uniting against him with the full force of legal documentation and evidence. Even Christine Brown, now remarried and seemingly at peace, has reportedly been cheering from the sidelines, offering moral support to both Janelle and Meri. Christine allegedly told friends, "It's about time someone stood up to him on paper. We all stood up emotionally, but they're taking it one step further." As the hearings continue, new details have surfaced about how the Coyote Pass property was originally financed. Court records reportedly show that the land was purchased in multiple parcels, partially financed through family income and TLC payments, with each wife expected to receive an equitable share. But as Kody's relationship with Robyn grew stronger and the others grew distant, the paperwork trail became murky. Financial experts reviewing the case suggested that if Janelle and Meri can prove their monetary contributions, the court may order restitution or even a forced sale of certain parcels to repay them. That could mean Robyn and Kody losing control over parts of the property they believed were exclusively theirs. It's a legal chess game that could reshape the entire Brown family legacy. But beyond the land and the money, the deeper narrative is one of empowerment. Both Janelle and Meri have spent years under the shadow of a system that minimized their autonomy. Now, through the lens of legal action, they're reclaiming that power. Janelle, who's been focusing on her health and independence journey, has become a symbol of strength for many fans. "I didn't walk away with nothing," she told a fan in a recent live stream, smiling with quiet confidence. "I walked away with clarity." Meri, too, has been glowing on social media, sharing motivational quotes and photos from her bed and breakfast business in Utah, signaling a woman who's no longer defined by heartbreak. Together, they've become unlikely allies, bonded not by sisterhood in a spiritual marriage, but by sisterhood in justice. Meanwhile, Robyn's position in the saga has grown increasingly uncomfortable. Once the cherished legal wife, she now finds herself under public scrutiny as viewers question whether she knowingly benefited from land transfers. Insiders claim that Robyn has been pleading with Kody to settle outside of court to end the embarrassment, but Kody reportedly refuses, insisting that no court can define a spiritual covenant. However, fans argue that this is no longer about faith, it's about fairness. The irony of Kody, who once insisted the family's unity was more important than money, now standing at the center of a financial dispute, has not been lost on longtime watchers. The next court date is reportedly set for early 2026, with speculation that mediation could occur before then. Legal experts following the case say that if the court finds in favor of Janelle+Meri, it could set a precedent for plural families dealing with property division after spiritual divorces. As for Kody, those close to him say he's shaken but still defiant, convinced that he'll emerge victorious. But whether or not the court sides with him, the damage to his reputation, both publicly and personally, seems irreversible. His empire built on family unity now lies in fragments, replaced by lawsuits and bitterness. For viewers who've followed this family for over a decade, this moment feels like poetic justice. The women who were once quiet, obedient, and sidelined have become the ones commanding the courtroom, demanding accountability for years of promises unfulfilled. And though Kody continues to portray himself as misunderstood, the growing evidence suggests that the tide has turned for good. Janelle+Meri's courage to unite against the man who once united them all marks not just the end of Sister Wives as fans once knew it, but the beginning of a new narrative entirely, one where women reclaim their worth, their property, and their peace. As one fan perfectly summarized on social media, he took their love, their trust, and their land. Now they're taking back their power, legally, loudly, and unapologetically. As the courtroom battle dragged into its second phase, the energy surrounding the case reached a fever pitch. Reporters camping outside the courthouse, fans dissecting every leaked document, and former insiders from the Sister Wives production crew stepping forward with shocking claims about how long this conflict had been brewing behind the scenes. According to one former crew member, the tension between Kody and his former wives had started to simmer years before the public breakups, but it was Kody's alleged obsession with keeping control of Coyote Pass that eventually turned love into litigation. That land was his identity, the insider revealed. It wasn't just property, it was power. And when the others started asking questions, things got dark. Those words rang true when the judge called for the next round of testimony, and Janelle took the stand again, calm but resolute, her voice carrying the weight of every broken promise. She spoke of long nights filled with arguments over money, how she contributed more than her fair share because she believed in Kody's dream of a united homestead. "I wanted my kids to have something solid," she said quietly. "But I realize now the only thing solid was his control." Meri followed, her testimony a haunting echo of her years in emotional exile. She recounted how she was pushed further and further from decision-making, describing moments where Kody refused to even show her the property deeds or updates on payments. "He said he was protecting us," she said, her voice cracking. But protection without transparency is control. The courtroom fell silent, her words hanging like a confession, not from guilt, but from decades of suppressed pain finally released. Robin, sitting a few seats behind Kody, was visibly emotional, clutching tissues and shaking her head as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. But the cameras outside captured a different story, one of accountability closing in. Legal analysts began to suggest that Robin's involvement in the paperwork could become a liability if evidence showed she benefited from questionable transfers. In the following days, as public opinion swayed heavily toward Janelle+Meri, Kody's frustration reportedly boiled over. Sources close to him claimed he ranted about betrayal, calling a lawsuit a knife in the back from women who should have been grateful. Yet, while his temper flared, the women's quiet determination only grew stronger. Janelle was photographed leaving the courthouse arm-in-arm with Meri, both smiling through the chaos, a rare and powerful image of unity that fans said spoke louder than any testimony. Online, support poured in from women who saw their own stories reflected in theirs, stories of being dismissed, overruled, or erased in the name of loyalty. "They're not just fighting for land," one fan tweeted. "They're fighting for every woman who's ever been told her voice doesn't matter." And that, perhaps, is what truly makes this legal showdown more than just a lawsuit. It's a revolution of voices rising from the dust of Coyote Pass, demanding justice not only for themselves but for the generations that watched and learned that love without respect is just another kind of loss.